Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Friday, June 11th. Wow. In this episode, we're going to dedicate it to the Euros. All things Euros, all groups, predictions, all the madness, and all the good stuff. But first, Mike, there's a little bit of little Spursy news. You're our Spurs correspondent, so we've got to find out what's happening with Spurs and anything on your Salernitano Trina shirts. Did you get a hold of any of those yet?
I haven't gotten a hold of anybody, but no, yeah, Spurs seem to have a coach, he said, for the third time in the last, what seems like 3 weeks. He is the former Roma coach, Fonseca, and I was actually texted this morning by a Roma fan saying, good luck with that. And I went, oh, that's not great. No, but the more I look into it, I'm okay with it. He's not sexy. But when we hired Pochettino, he wasn't really sexy either. But yeah, I think we'll talk a lot more about that in the next few episodes because listen, this is going to continue to be
a thing. Yeah.
As the Tottenham turns, and I'm just kind of fucking tired of it. We've got a really good show lined up though. So let's dive into the Euros. But before we do, I want to alert everybody right off the jump of the show. We've got something cooking. I'm pretty excited about it. I can't divulge a whole lot of information yet, but what I can say is that we're going to be running a contest for the last 16 of the Euros this summer. And the winners will be given a gift card to a specific entity that's what I can't really divulge yet, but we're in conversations with people. I got to tell you, working with Dave and Chris on the Chop Sports Network has opened a lot of doors for us, and awesome. And we're running through them. So we want to, grow everything as a thank you to them, as a thank you to you guys for listening to us. So we're excited. Stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of news. If you don't already follow us on Twitter, please do. Squeaky Bum Time Pod on Twitter. And even more importantly than that, I think our Facebook group, Squeaky Bum Time Podcast, it's an open group. We will keep everybody there up to date. By the way, it's a lot of fun. Come on in, chat football with some friends. But yes, there's a lot of news to come that we are still working on behind the scenes. We couldn't turn it around for the start of the tournament, which is tomorrow. So we're going to start it in the round of 16 in about 2 to 3 weeks. So like I said, stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And so the format we'll go through, Mike and I are just going to go through the groups. There are 6, A through F. Just go through them, run them down. There's a great team with good history in every group. Some have more than one, some have more than that. And, we can really dive into things and talk about some specific things that are real narratives around the tournament that you'll probably hear about as we go through it. But first, let's go through Group A, consisting of Italy, Switzerland, Wales, and Turkey. World War II references. Italy, Switzerland, nothing great. No victories there. We'll talk about Gallipoli maybe with Turkey, how they defeated Winston Churchill's grand plan to open a southern front for the English in World War I. Didn't go well at all. So Italy come into this super duper strong, and that is bad. Historically, Italy, when they go into a tournament strong, are terrible. And when they go into a tournament terrible, they are awesome. The 2 times they won the World Cup, shockingly, the country and its football was embroiled in a gambling scandal. Right. Both times, both 2006 was the Juventus Calcio scandal, match fixing. Well, they paying off referees. Yes. And then in 1982, their primary goal scorer, who recently died, I can't remember his name, was embroiled in it, was able to play in the World Cup. Nobody knew. And he was able to do that. So this group, this group is a couple of good teams, but just to take a step back, Group A, Italy, Switzerland, Wales, Turkey. We should probably just talk about the format a little bit. Let's go through and kind of explain it, right? So
like you mentioned, 6 groups. If you're familiar with the group stage process, you'll get this easily. But so it's the same thing as Champions League and Europa League and all the other international tournaments.
Round robin.
But round robin play, everybody plays everybody in their group. It's only 3 games, not 6, as opposed to Champions League. But yeah, and then so the top 2 teams from each group advance. Now a little bit different. You're like, well, hold on a second. There's 6 teams, 6 groups. That's only 12. Is that kind of nope? They're going to go to 16. They're going to have the 4 best third place teams. A little wonky, but so let's say Turkey finishes in third place in Group A, and they have, out of the 3 games, they have 7 points and a good goal difference. They're probably going to be one of those 4 teams. I'm not saying they will be. I'm saying hypothetically that they'll be included in that round of 16. How those 4 third place teams are seeded, effectively, they get the highest 4 group winners, if you will. And then it's basically similar to the World Cup.
But they're paired. The groups are already paired.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And so similarly to the World Cup, where normally it would be A1, B2, B1, A2. So there's a little, like I said, a little bit of wonkiness there. But you'll get it as you go. Trust me.
and the reason why it's a little bit wonky is this is an expanded field. UEFA and all the tournaments are just expanding fields as often as they can because they want to make more money and make these things bigger, make it more an event. It used to be these cups started with like 8 teams or they started with just the 16. They went straight into knockout. So this tournament is the first time that it's been at this size. And that the good thing about that is that it brings teams and friends we haven't seen for a while. Scotland's in its first major tournament since 1998, and Craig Burley got sent off, which I'm sure he remembers really well. And then we have random teams that in 1998 didn't exist, like North Macedonia. I don't know any North Macedonians. I'm sure they're pissed off that I just said they didn't exist. Yes, you were part of Greater Yugoslavia, Greece, someplace where everyone hates each other from the next town over. Hopefully you didn't throw people off of bridges who had different religions from you, but I'm sure you thought about it because
thought about it.
That's how things go in the former regions known as Thrace. So that's a little bit of Roman history that we're mixing in with Nazi history. We'll keep going. I'll just mix it up, but whatever I know, I'll throw in there. So Italy come in very strong under Mancini. I have a soft spot for Mancini. Of course, he was our coach for City that won the league. He famously, according to Micah Richards, basically told all the players to go fuck themselves every second of every moment of that game, thinking that they were ruining it for him. So that's the kind of coach he was. So he got them to win, but he's like, win it for me because I need to win. Interesting there. Wales brings an interesting group of players from our friend Mr. Bale. Wales semifinalist in the last grouping, could be their last hurrah, really. I mean, Bale comes in fragile at best.
I would actually argue that he's in tip-top form right now.
Okay.
And that they are a dark horse.
He does play well with Wales. Like
he plays very well with Wales, but and
they have a spirit that is beyond any other team.
They do. The Welsh Mafia at Spurs, between him, Ben Davies, and Joe Rodon, will all start for the Welsh side.
They have no choice. They will always
They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But I think that, part of the banter around Bale this year with Spurs, I got a really good look at it, was that he was sort of using Spurs to get healthy for the Euros. I mean, look, he had a great return goal wise. And I don't even want to get into the Marino stuff, but the fact of the matter is, whether it's the reason, whether it is a byproduct, he is healthy now, right? We talked about it a lot around like January when he was starting to turn that corner and then Marino started to bench him. He has that he's weathered, he's older, but he does have that Gareth Bale magic back. So
yeah. And who's the clown who used to play for Spurs? The other Welshman. God damn, I can't remember anything. Ramsey, who's lost, who Weston.
Oh no, for Arsenal.
Right. But Weston McKennie stole his job, so that's always good.
Yeah, to hell with him.
So that guy's pretty good. We like him. Switzerland, the Shaka brothers will be there. They're always a pretty tough team. They play well. Turkey is been the perennial sleeping giant of Europe. I don't know if it's Europe, but they've been part of Europe.
Mostly Asia.
Well, they're the hat on the Middle East.
Right.
They get they got stuff going on there. But Turkey are a perennial dark horse because they're literally outbreeding all of Europe combined. And I think the population now, I think, is nearing like 80 or 90 million people, which is on par with Germany. Their problem is that they have individually good and crafty players who come together. The defense is particularly good, led by Soyuncu. But Hakan Çalhanoğlu, can't remember his name.
He's a free kick specialist.
Yeah. A lot of the best Turkish players are German, and a lot of the best German players are Turkish. Figure that one out for yourself. You can understand immigration and who gets what when. So Turkey are waiting for one day to. I think they have a belief problem. I don't think that they believe that they're as good as these teams, and one day they'll get there. But I would expect out of this group, Italy, Turkey, Wales, maybe Italy, Turkey, Switzerland. I would expect Turkey and Italy to get through as winners.
So let's go stop here. And we don't have to, we'll come up with the four third place teams at the end.
Yeah.
But so you've got, and I'm going to write this down. You've got Italy, what's your,
I would say Italy wins the group with Turkey in second.
Turkey in second. Okay. I've got Wales in second and Turkey in third. So I think that's the main difference there, but yeah. So on to group B, take us away. I'm going to write this down.
Yeah. Group B has Belgium, the perennial, almost everyone's favorite dark horse. Here's the bad news. They're getting old. Russia, who had a good whole World Cup at home. They made it. They beat Spain. Finland of the fame of Timo Pukki, and Denmark, 1990 champions, a very famous team. There's actually a movie on Netflix about the what was going on in Denmark in 1990 behind the Laudrup brothers and Peter Schmeichel and our friend Mr. Eriksson. So Denmark, a good team. Finland, less of a good team. Russia and Belgium there. What we really want to focus on is Belgium. Belgium have been picked to win a tournament since the Tim Howard game, right?
Yeah.
That was their coming out game. They
were the big, up and coming,
right?
Team.
They made it to the semifinal.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, defense, they never seem to be able to get that trophy that they think they deserve. I mean, you're looking at a team that's led by Kevin De Bruyne, Lukaku, Eden Hazard, less so now, Alderweireld at his best, Vertonghen at their best. Together we're partnership with Vincent Kompany. Vermaelen played for years at Arsenal. They have Courtois in goal. They've just got
Courtois he was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In that,
they just have the players you'd expect to win big games, but they keep seeming to find a way to come up short. And I think fundamentally it is a defensive problem. It is a see games out problem. It is a pragmatism problem. To win these tournaments, and we'll talk about some of the teams that have won that are just like, you've got to be a fucker and a son of a bitch. And when it's winning time, be willing to kick a guy in the dick and be willing to just be like, you know what? We're grinding this fucking game out. I don't care.
Similar to, and I don't mean to, this is a good segue into my next question. Similar to the Champions League final, how Rudiger just KO'd Kevin De Bruyne, right?
Whether he did it on purpose or not, it was a tough move.
Right. I mean, he definitely impeded. He didn't try to kill him, but he definitely tried to impede his progress and stop the play in the name of a yellow card. But he ended up getting a lot more meat than he probably planned for.
Yeah,
and
for players that we love that are out there, Højbjerg, not Conte, he's less physical, but Fernandinho, in past times, Roy Keane, Vieira. There is a place for shithousery and fucking shit up. And they're revered players, and you need them. And I think Belgium as a unit is missing that instinct.
Well, okay. And that goes back to what is the latest news on Kevin De Bruyne? Because I meant to look.
He's ready. He's practicing. He's ready to go.
Practicing. Okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
And that's huge. That's huge, right?
Yeah, he's ready to go.
Yeah. So he's I don't know that Hazard's going to have a big place in this team. Maybe he's a sub, but
they'll play him.
they'll play him.
They're not that good. Like
yeah.
They're not gonna. I mean, like just going through the list, it's Hazard names Hazard, Mertens, Vertonghen, Axel Witsel, Yannick Carrasco, Yuri Tillemans in the midfield.
Yeah, Tillemans is fantastic.
I mean, even guys that are from my precious and beloved Brighton, Leandro Trossard, Leandro Dendoncker, your boy, Munier, Castagna, who we loved at Everton early in the season before they got weird. Benteke, Dennis Pratt, Origi, just names that are in the Premier League. So one of the things that's great about following the Euro is you start to see your guys and you're just like, oh, that's weird. He's there.
Yeah.
and some guys, very often it's marginal players who aren't good that are amazing in tournament play, and legends are built in international tournaments. It is a fact. Oh, yeah. It is real. Ask anyone who followed Iceland. That team is revered forever.
Yep.
For a moment, for beating England. That's all you needed. For me going through, I'm going to go Belgium and Russia just because I think Putin will cheat and find a way to threaten someone's family.
Yeah. I think we're both pretty on par that Finland's going to finish last in this group. Yeah. I do want to point out that they do have the best kits. Maybe of the whole tournament.
Oh, always.
Maybe of the whole tournament. They're beautiful.
They always do.
I might get it's a huge jersey foul, but I might get as I can't find a Kako, Rangers or not Rangers, Finland hockey jersey. So I might get a soccer one because it looks better anyway. But so I think you've got Russia and then Denmark.
Me? No, Belgium.
Yeah. Belgium, Russia, and then Denmark third.
Oh, Denmark third. They'll find Denmark will finish third. Eriksson will find a way to steal some goals here and there, and they'll just play for him, basically. Right.
I agree. I think it comes down to the Denmark-Russia game, which, if I'm looking at it, is the second game of their groups against each other. So sorry about that.
Denmark has good players, right? They've got Braithwaite, who plays for Barca. They've got Poulsen, who plays for RB Leipzig, and Andreas Christensen at the back. They have enough pros. Henrik Dalsgaard, killer from fucking Brentford. They've got They have guys that can get it done. They're a professional team, and they'll be well coached. I think Kasper Schmeichel. Kasper Schmeichel will bring something that helps them and some gravitas of like, I'm a fucking winner. I won the FA Cup. I won the league. Let's get this done. He's the captain of Leicester, a team that is respected, if trying still to get over the hump.
So something that's really interesting about this group, if you look at the match details, is that actually Russia and Denmark play on the final day of the group. On the 21st. Yeah. And so that's going to be really interesting because no matter what, almost definitely any outcome in that game will change who's in second and third place, right?
I will be looking forward to a rematch of 1940 Russia-Finland, the Battle of the Skis, when Russia invaded Finland, and Finland held up longer than France did against the mighty Soviet Red Army. So the Finns are pretty fucking tough. I bet you that's a secret rivalry that I called out as a joke, but probably is real. I'm sure it is in hockey too. There'll be a lot of Ks.
Oh, it's a big one in hockey.
A lot of Tukis and Pookies. And I just want to talk about one person before we leave Finland, and that's Esa Tikkanen. I fucking love you. Oh, you're a goddamn legend.
Esa Tikkanen has my favorite moment in Madison Square Garden in 1997, where he scores and he's in overtime against the Panthers. He's the only one in Madison Square Garden who knows it's in, and he loses his fucking mind. And then 5 minutes later, they review it. It goes in. He basically goes over to the ref and goes, I fucking told you so. True story. He scored 2 overtime winners in that series. He is a legend. I love him. Number 10 for the New York Rangers. Anyway.
I thought I'd have to throw some Esa Tikkanen in. In Group C, the weakest group by far, but the Netherlands are in it, but they have a shit coach. I mean, I can't fucking say his name. Frank the loser.
De Boer?
De Boer is the coach of the Netherlands.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because Koeman went to Barcelona. Koeman had this team playing Dutch, he had it playing well. They had their moments back. They had missed the last Euros and the World Cup. They've been in really shit form and really falling apart. And now Frank is going to fuck it up because he's a bad coach.
Yeah, I guess.
He's trying to play 3 at the back. He's doing all sorts of stupid shit. Listen, this team should not be bad. They can't not make it out of this group. Austria's not good enough. North Macedonia is just like, North Macedonia is a country?
Yeah. Oh. North Macedonia, if you were to fire up this tournament on FIFA, they would have made up players.
I think they do have made up players.
They do.
Yeah. And then the Ukraine, which can be strong. I mean, they have one strong international, my boy, Alex Zinchenko. What the hell's I can't remember anyone's name today.
Your left back.
Yes, my left
Alexander Zinchenko.
Zinchenko, that's what I said.
Yeah, Jesus. All right, so you're gonna put he looks Ukrainian too. Now that
he's so Ukrainian. He's got
who got
they've got Yarmolenko. Somehow they have a Marlowe.
Yarmolenko is made of glass, but I love him.
Yeah, but it's different. It's different when he's got the ball and he's playing for the Ukraine. He's just gonna shoot. And their coach is I can't remember anything. So they're good, but these teams aren't good enough. They probably get out of the group because the group's so bad. So I think I'll go with the Netherlands, Austria, Ukraine. Yeah, I mean, as a third place winner. I mean,
you're going Ukraine.
I don't even want to put. It's the Netherlands and Austria. I don't want the third place team to come from this group. I don't even think.
It might, just because everybody else. That's the weird thing, is that it's so siloed, right? Like Ukraine could have a good third place showing relative to
because
the
it's
other
such
ones.
A shit group, because they're going to get the point. They're going to get the point against Macedonia, but Austria is good.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, like, it's such a weird dynamic that, like, we'll talk about some of the other groups that are strong all the way through, where they might beat the shit out of each other and hurt the group in total for having a third place entrant. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough group. It's North Macedonia. I'm wearing my Gunnar Stahl Iceland shirt, and it just occurred to me that they are not the fighting Gilfies are not taking part in the tournament this year, and that makes me sad.
Yeah, they didn't make it. I can't believe I didn't remember Andrei Shevchenko's name, but there's a lot of Ko's and Shevchens and Alex's and Andres.
Consonants.
Yeah, so I fucked that up. But yeah, Andrei Shevchenko, fucking legend. I mean, all timer. One of the beginner of the Chelsea curse, came to Chelsea, did nothing after winning the Champions League with AC Milan twice, I think. Group D is a group
hold
that
on. Let's pay some bills real quick. So you guys are all familiar with now. The last few times we've been talking about Jess at Sunflower Meadow Seasonings. The cheddar beer dip that she's made exclusively for the Chop Sports Network is still really, really good. I have ripped through my free samples of it. Thank you, Jess. Please don't send any more. As I mentioned, I'm on a super strict diet. And I just can't do it. But it's unbelievable. Like we mentioned before, we're recording later tonight than normally, and I'm starving. So I kind of wish I did have some of it. But yeah, like I said, go to sunflowermeadowseasoning.com. Their entire lineup of products. It's all really, really great stuff. This Jess is a wizard. But yeah, especially the brand new cheddar beer dip. Definitely take a look at that, guys.
Mike, did you know that I have a 7-year-old daughter?
I did. How is Adeline?
She's okay. She's sleeping. Did you know that children are very goddamn expensive? You have to plan for their lives, for the rest of their fucking lives, because children aren't allowed to have any responsibility to do anything anymore. I have been petrified of what's going to happen with our financial future for poor Aveline. But thankfully, the Chop Network has put me in touch with our friend Joe at Attitude of Gratitude Consulting, and he has been helping us find a path to save money on our bills so that we can put money away for Aveline to go forward. I mean, she's got all sorts of things she needs. We got to pay things for camp. We got to pay things for dance class and ballet and this and that. So Joe's been helping me find the money under the couch on the podcast. We don't buy any new software. We borrow it from the Chop Sport Network team so that we can have the money to do the things we need to do for our family. And we're so appreciative of Joe at Attitude of Gratitude Consulting, who's found a way to help us with our monthly bills. Visit Joe at Attitude of Gratitude Consulting for more info. And if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. He's going to find those nickels and dimes to help you use in the way that's more useful than fucking spending it on coffee. That's for sure. All right. On to the groups.
Hold
Mike,
on. I didn't give my Group C predictions. I do think Netherlands wins. I honestly, I really want to go against that, but I'm not going to. I'm going, you know what? The Ukraine is not so weak. I'm going with them too. And Austria, they're going to be one of my threes.
Well, I mean, the thing with Ukraine is they're literally in the middle of a war, and part of their country has been taken over by Russia. So maybe they've got a little fight in them. Maybe they're seeing a pairing with Russia somehow, some way. Maybe they can't fight on the ground and they can't use the N-word in Hunter Biden emails, but they can find a way on the football field to get themselves moving forward. So hopefully they find a way forward, because I really like my guy, the team, and they're always a good little team, especially the Ukrainian league champions Shakhtar. Always been a trouble for City. So
they're always a nightmare in Champions League. One other thing on scheduling for that, the same day as Russia and Denmark, we've got Ukraine and Austria as the appetizer to that. So really interesting couple of games towards the end of the group between teams we expect to be more or less in the same spot. So, all right, hit me with Group D. Group D is a really good one.
Well, Group D is where we have some real connection. You've got Croatia, finalist in the World Cup. You've got England, basically
who lost to Croatia,
the Chicago Cubs of international soccer. Instead of 1906, it's 1966. They can't let it go. They still hold on to it. They invented football. They think they should win. Their team is perennially overrated because all the players are in the biggest league in the world. We have Scotland and their 14 left backs versus England's 9 right backs, and the Czech Republic, who are spicy because they've got Souček. They've got all the guys from Spartak and Slavia Prague who've been playing together. And they're one of those teams that's got that cohesiveness that makes it tough. So it's a strong group, heavy with 2 at the top and then heavy with 2 at the bottom, who are evenly matched. The Czech Republic famously in 1996 made the final. So that's something to keep in mind for you old school heads, remembering Paolo Poborski's goal to get them through, his headband, his hair. Of course, back then, if you had a good tournament, you simply got signed by Man United and be like, who is he? I saw him in the Euros. He's fucking awesome. And then the guy would just fade. And you'd be like, oh, I guess he's not good. This is a historical thing that happened. So really keep an eye on someone who pops. Think of James Rodriguez. He just became a superstar. And it's like, you're not a superstar. You're a guy who has a good left foot.
The last one from the Euro I think of is Renato Sanchez. And he was like, everybody's like, he's the next Ronaldo. Hey, no, he's not.
He's not even the next. I don't know where he is. He's lost.
He's in the French league. I think he's
is he at
Lille.
Rennes? Oh, was he at
Rennes? One of them.
Something with 2 letters that's short.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, oh, that's where he went. Because he's a name that I have in the back of my head because of his performance at the 2016 Euro.
Yeah. That fucking what's his face's shit has it. He's at Lille. So he's a champion.
Yeah, so I said.
Oh, fuck. Did he play? Yeah, he played. Oh, he played. That's fucking awesome for him. Yeah, so good for him. He got a shot, right? He basically got himself to Bayern Munich from that performance, right?
Exactly.
So that kind of stuff happens. The game I'm looking forward to in this group, sure, Croatia, England. I don't think Croatia is where they were.
I know what you're waiting for.
When England, Scotland. Give it all to me. I want the fucking England, Scotland. For people who don't know, is the first international ever. I think it was 1870, 1860, something like that. And the history of football, I'm going to give everyone a history lesson. The English only played soccer by running with the ball to someone and trying to go past them. So they played a dribbling game. The Scottish, being not as good, were like, how about we just pass the ball around them? And they effectively invent modern soccer. And it's because of them and a team called Queen's Park, not Queen's Park Rangers, but Queen's Park, where all these Scottish guys were learning that, which literally was called, they played the passing game. This is before the offside. This is before lots of shit. But they invented modern soccer, and all the great early soccer players in England, before it was professional and they had to fight that out, were Scottish. And they would immigrate down, all the working men from Scotland, and become professional football players. There's a really bad Netflix movie called The Game that kind of covers it a little bit. It's a little bit weird. There's a split between working men playing soccer and posh people playing soccer. It's worth a watch just to see weird soccer, but it's like Downton Abbey mixed with Victory. So it's kind of a weird, weird combo. But, for soccer nerds, just watch it and it's fun. So Scotland, England has so much history, so many big moments. That will be a game that has more fans than anything. Another big key, and why I think Scotland will go through, they're playing all their games at home. They're playing two games at home.
Well, and then they're playing the one at Wembley, but
right. Yeah. But effectively in the UK, right?
That's as home as you get away, right?
Yeah. So Scotland will have 3 games with massive fan bases, and you'll see the Tartan Army. They wear like a golf cap with a pom-pom and red shaggy hair as a cheap wig, and that's their look, like a Scottish hillbilly.
I like Groundskeeper Willie.
Yeah, basically that. And they have lots of songs, and they're not quite good enough. They're going to be relying somehow on Tierney and Robertson to combine. One idea is they're both left backs, that they both play on the left, one as the fullback and one as the winger, and they kind of just share the running up and down. They may play 3 at the back and try and just play Robertson as a wing back and just move them around that way. They don't quite have a way to play their best players, but you can look for John McGinn, Che Adams up front. So some good players, but they're going to be defensive and sit in and just try and absorb pressure from England, absorb pressure from Croatia, who still rely on Luka Modric, who's just a fucking legend at this point. I mean, yes, he looks like Lady Crawley from Downton Abbey.
He does.
Thank you. Shout out to the Men in Blazers who pointed that out, but he does look like an older woman at this point. But Croatia have experience. They have something that I think the teams in the Balkans have in general. They play better than the sum of their parts. The players are always better than you think they're going to be. So when you see Serbia, you see Croatia, you see Slovakia, you're like, is it Slovakia? Slovenia. You're like, why are these small, tiny countries good? I mean, they just overrepresent themselves in internationals. Somehow they have discipline. Like, they're good at basketball. They're good at fucking water polo. They show up in judo. You're like, why is Serbia winning medals in the Olympics? What the fuck is going on? This is a war-torn country that believes in gypsies. What the fuck are they doing? So, and you don't really want to be Jewish there. It's not fun. And I'm not, because it's not good. They just live by the old ways. They might try and boil you and use you, jar you, and try and use you for healing. It's not Kazakhstan, but it has its own special flavor. Shout out to my friend Dan Sormaz of the former Yugoslavia, aka Serbia, who's told me more stories about just general hatred of your neighbor for no reason than I care to imagine. And his dad, who's the best.
That's outstanding. Wow.
But he's not Croatian. Croatians are the Catholics, so we like them. But England, Croatia is the first match in the group. That should be good. I'd expect England to fuck up and play badly, but advance. That seems to be their way. And Gareth Southgate will get them to a certain level, and then they'll fail because he won't make adjustments, and he'll do something stupid.
I think that's fair to say. And I think one more point on the Croatians and, all of those teams, which you so acutely put together, right?
They all hate each other, so don't really put them together.
Well, no, but the idea is that they all share one common characteristic. They can take a punch, right? So if you look back to the World Cup, right, Kieran Trippier, which one of the greatest free kicks in the moment I've seen, right? This goes top bins with it, and England goes up 1-0. And at that point, you're like, oh, they might run away with
They got this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then Croatia not only counter punches, but they go back up 2-1 and then they lock it down. So I think that Croatia wins this group. Man, you really, really sold me on Scotland, but I'm big on the Czechs, man. I have the Czechs in England really tight for second.
You're big on your boy Souček.
I like Thomas Souček. He was in my team of the year. I played him as a winger in my team of the year, like an idiot. It didn't matter.
Did you know he did not miss a minute
in the Premier League?
Yep.
Yeah. He was like one of like 2 or 3 guys, I think.
And he's gigantic. He causes problems, massive problems. One, he wins you balls in the midfield that you normally wouldn't win. You sort of place. You'd be like, well, that's a striker's ball. Well, we're doing it. We don't have to kick it long. We can kick it in the middle where there's actually more bodies and we can win second balls. And then the other pieces on set pieces, the guy's fucking lethal, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you've got Modric and him. Well, sorry, wrong team. But you've got, you've got him there and you have Kufal, who's probably going to take the corners. Kufal might have been the best or top right back outside of the, sort of top 6 from West Ham. That team is, and they've been playing with each other all year.
Well, that's the thing you mentioned, right? Like, so they've been playing together, but the rest of the team is a unit, right? We talked about it when they won.
They beat Arsenal.
Yes, the semis, right? Yeah. And like Souček was FaceTiming with them on the field.
That's ridiculous.
Right? Yeah. So they're really tight, and I believe in that togetherness. I think that, and
it'll be tough. It's going to be tough.
The thing you got to remember about these groups is it's 3 games. One thing goes wrong. If England loses to Croatia, they're in deep shit.
Yep.
Right. So I think right off the jump, I think
on the flip side, you could go through on 3 draws.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But and by that math, so. But I think you start with Croatia beating England and everyone in the nation panics and subsequently blames Harry Kane. And then
no, you forgot Raheem Sterling still plays for England.
Yeah.
And he has a special characteristic that's different from Harry Kane.
Their second game is going to be that blood feud against Scotland. And then they finish up with another game. This is going to be on the 22nd. I'm not going anywhere that weekend, man. I'm going to have some fun. Yeah. It's going to be the Czechs against England at Wembley, while Croatia and Scotland is probably not going to be much there in that. But while they play across the way there in Glasgow.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty incredible. I'm looking forward to that. My picks would be, I'm going to go England, Croatia, but I don't feel good about England. If they went out, it would be a catastrophe, but it could happen.
Yeah,
easily.
Absolutely.
Easily.
Who we got for 3?
Scotland.
Do it. Yes. Thank you.
I'm just going to do it. I don't care. I don't want to, but it is a tough group, but it's an interesting group. And then in Group E, Poland, Spain, Sweden, Slovakia, all name brand. Spain is the powerhouse there, but they're weird. Like they've got COVID problems. None of them are practicing together. They've got everything is separated out. They've got all these protocol shit going on with them. So they're kind of a mess right now, but they are Spain. They still have that Spain thing where they pass the ball around. Luis Enrique is the coach. He's a good coach. He cares. But again, are we really going to rely on Morata to score goals? They're just going to pass the ball around and Morata's going to be offside. Right? That's just how it's going to be. Yep. I mean, I could see someone like Ferran Torres from City, the youngster that we got from Valencia this season, who had moments. He had a hat trick against Germany in the buildup. I could see him becoming a star. I think he needs to feel mature. I think it's a confidence thing, but he's clearly supremely talented. And then one thing about Spain is there will be no Ramos. A lot of the old guard are getting sort of phased out. But Spain are still the class here. Poland with Lewandowski, they are usually worse than the sum of their parts. You're always like, Poland, why aren't they? Oh, I guess not. I think it's one of these things where you find out how much midfielders matter because Lewandowski just doesn't get on the ball. They sit back and he tends to be on his own and doesn't get to do much. Sweden, we were robbed of Zlatan. He basically out for the year. And I think he at this point, he'll probably try and keep playing. But at this point, he's kind of in trouble. He may really never play again at this point because he had quit from the Swedish national team, and then when they made it, he joined back in. That's dirty. But hey, he's Zlatan. He can do what the fuck he wants.
He can do that.
Right. So they play Spain, then Slovakia, then Poland. That Poland-Sweden game could be massive for them. But they have good players. I think the one to watch for this team is a guy called Alexander Isak, black guy from Sweden. It happens these days. But he had been at Dortmund, flamed out. They had, you felt like it was one of those moments where they found someone, but he had a great season with Sociedad. Not surprisingly, I think David Silva was in the midfield there and helped him out.
That's strange.
There's that. And then my favorite player, because I think his name is Forsberg, and I just remember him, is Emil Forsberg, plays at Leipzig. He's just, every time I watch Leipzig, I love him, and I want him to not be playing at Leipzig because I think he's fucking amazing. But this is a team that's tough. They have history. They've been in a World Cup final many years ago against Brazil. So they're interesting. I like them. Slovakia, also interesting. It's part of our Balkan crew. Slovakia's got good players too. It's always these same things. You're just like, wow, shit, these teams they still have Hamšík and some of these guys that are still can do things. But again, it's too bad. I mean, it's like, could we combine Yugoslavia again? Because I think they'd be good. Or all the blood feuds of 1,000 years will come back, and some guys will be hanging from their lockers with the other guys saving them because they're praying in a different language. Who the fuck knows? But Dubravka from Newcastle's their goalkeeper, hell of a goalkeeper, kept them in the league, to be fair. But just I think Hamšík will be the big one there. Yeah, they don't seem to have the horses. As I just looked through their roster, just not enough there. I do remember that Skriniar, I think, plays for somebody.
Inter. He plays for Inter.
Right. Yeah, he's good.
He's very good. He's only going to be as good as who's next to him, though, and nobody here is really screaming at me. Yeah, I like Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden is the better of the teams.
Yeah, I want to see. Look, what we talked about, players becoming stars in this tournament. You gotta know that obviously there are some players who are basically their teams, and that's what's true in Poland, right? With Robert Lewandowski.
Get on the ball.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is when I think through who I think is going to get through the group is not who I want to get through the group, because I want to see Poland go on a run. I want to see Lewandowski put them on his back. And we, again, it's 3 games. It could happen, but I don't see it.
You need luck.
Yeah, you really do. So I'm going to go with Spain's got their own problems, but they're still Spain.
They're not making it.
Yeah, I would go Sweden 2 and Poland at the 3. And then who you got? Obviously Spain 1.
Yeah, Spain and Poland, and then I'll give Sweden the turn. I can't see that.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
Slovakia doesn't have the horses.
We don't have a single group that's exactly the same. Although I kind of do. We did not mention our friend and Spurs target, Marcel Sabitzer from Austria in the midfield. So I do I think I might go back on my Ukraine, but that's okay. We'll talk about it later. Before we get to Group F, because Group F is a doozy. Laurent, I want to take it back to 2006 for a second.
Oh, God. We're talking about France.
So the most famous World Cup final probably ever.
Yes.
France, Italy. Huge matchup, right?
Yes.
First half is going by. It was like middle of the first half, I think, right? Zinedine Zidane, Thierry Henry, David Trezeguet. Like, this France team was just unbelievably fluid. They were
loaded but bad. In the tournament.
Weird. You know what's actually because
and Zidane had kind of not wanted to be in it, and they were listless, and he put the fucking team on his back.
It's kind of I don't know that the parallel is correct in that they'll make it to the final, but they remind me of the holdovers from the Spain dynasty, which, by the way, we didn't talk about it while we were recording. Spain won the Euros in 2008, the World Cup in 2010, and then the Euros again in 2012. That is the best stretch of international football in the history of the world.
France have a chance to do the World Cup, Euro, World Cup, Euro, World Cup, Euro for the 3rd time, which is no one's ever done.
Okay.
So they did 98 and 2000. Then they did
82.
No, no, no.
86. No, 96.
98 and 2000. There's a third one. Anyway,
they just won. They just won.
Right. So they may be able to do World Cup and then Euros again. So, yeah. And then,
okay.
Yeah, they're getting there.
But we were getting there, right? We were talking about how this loaded France team, like I said, kind of coming to the end of their run.
Yeah.
But they get to the final. They play a terrific Italy team. That was cheating. But so I'll give you the floor because what happens next?
Yeah. So it's a famous GIF. It's famous for everything. Basically, it's in extra time. Zidane is amazing. Like, just, it rarely happens in football where an individual player, and I did not have good soccer literacy at the time, where you're just like, what the fuck? Who is that person? And, I knew who Zidane was. I mean, all French, even a little bit, you knew who he was, but he stood out. It was different. It was Messi-ish, but not at the final third in the midfield. He'd take the ball from the defenders and just go through the rest of the team and set up the next shot, or just control the ball or keep the pace of the game going well. And Italy was in full shithouse mode. They were, it was still Chiellini was still there. Fucking Chiellini. Fucking hate him.
Chiellini.
Gattuso was there. It's Totti, Daniele De Rossi. These are like Pirlo. These guys are warriors. These are the, these guys are legionnaires. Like, if you had put the fucking bronze cap on and you would have been like, oh, okay, those guys are Roman legions. They're going to go kill Gauls. I'm in. Okay, no problem. That's what they were like. And they played that way, and they played that up. And Italy has that sort of warrior mentality about the team. It wasn't a full Catenaccio team, but they had a spirit of like, nobody believes in us. We shouldn't be here. And in the final throws of the game, Materazzi is basically fucking with Zidane the whole game. I'm at Floyd's in Brooklyn. Shout out to Atlantic Avenue Floyd's. This is a bar that has an indoor bocce court, which is always a good time. Very soccer focused, great place. It was a Spurs place.
I think it is still.
Yeah, Floyd's at the far end of Atlantic Avenue. And it was jammed, and I was full French. And so Zidane does the headbutt. He gets sent off. We go to penalties after extra time. And fundamentally, France loses, right? Pirlo finishes them off. And what I remember about it is not really the moments of the game so much, how fucking angry I was. And it was a moment. It's one of those moments. There's Aguero, but before Aguero for me is that game. I fucking hated anyone in that goddamn Azzurri fucking blue shirt. I was mad. My friend Franch came like, oh, it's a good game. I was like, fuck you. Get away from me. I was like, I don't want to fucking talk to you. Like, don't give your fucking friendly Italian blah, blah, blah. I was like, that was bullshit. Go away. I'm going to hit you. Like, I felt the other side that football can bring to you. The kind of like the rage, the why things burn, the why fucking people fight. I was so livid. And I was like, this is not good. This is not a good feeling. But that happens. It's kind of like, I don't know. The other feeling I had of that, it's the same feeling I had in the game I keep referring to, the 2-0 Clemens Pedro game, Trot Nixon 2-out home run in the ninth game.
We were both at that game.
Yeah, we're walking out of Yankee Stadium. It was crackling and it was ready to fucking kick off. And if I had some Red Sox dickhead fucking got in my face, I would have hit him and be like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to kill this person because they are Red Sox fans. So that's my 2006 final feeling. I couldn't get over it. And it was weirdly another, 5 years. Yes, we followed football, but it was less accessible than it was. And then Aguero, and then I probably haven't missed any tournament ever since. Although I do have a amateur moment. What's going to be brought up a lot, and you probably hear about it a lot, is Euro 96, famous in England for the last time they played Scotland. Gaza scored a goal. Paul Gascoigne, who gets referred to constantly because he's a maverick. He's sad. He's drunk. He's bipolar. He's got a lot of problems, but he's still around. And that 90.
Can I give a quick Gaza story? When I was on the tour of the Spurs stadium, he's a famous Spurs legend. He was a tremendous drunk. There was a hot tub at the old White Hart Lane in the locker room. And more than once, he fell asleep drunk in the hot tub before the game. Like, Just
but he was
Gaza, and then he would go out there and score.
Yeah, but he was a maverick.
Yeah,
complete maverick. Played differently. Was attuned to a different world, and he has a famous goal that he chips a ball up, goes over the Scottish defense, and volleys it home. It's a really incredible goal. I was in England and lived in England at the time, and sort of somehow knew that it was a big deal. And I remember we were watching a game on TV in the house. I turned it off and opened the doors to the porch, and you could just hear cheering from everywhere.
That's awesome.
This is incredible. So that's my Gaza story. That's my Euro 96 story. I know Euro 96 because I was in England for it. It was a big deal. It was awesome. But Gaza, we loved you. Zidane, we loved you. Italy, I will hate you for fucking ever. You Azzurri scum. You fucking fascist black shirt. Drape yourself in the Catholic Church. Ruiners of society. That's what I have to say about the Italians.
I was so 100% with you until the Salernitana thing, and now Paratici, and like I'm dovetailing back into the Italian part. I don't know, man. I don't know.
And now we're speaking of, we have got to talk about Group F. I mean, we do. We're on an hour. This is an epic pod, but I think worth it. I think we did a lot of good stuff here. Of course, I'm supporting France, but this is a group of death. This is France, current World Cup holders and two-time winners of this tournament, and should have won in 2016. They were runners-up, losing to Portugal. Germany, four-time World Cup winners, three-time European Cup holders, three times runners-up. So they have, been in the final or near there 6 times. And then Portugal are reigning champions, and were in the final in 2004, and famously lost to Greece, who we didn't get to mention. But Greece are one of the all-time fucking underdog upsets. Let's be fair, the tournament was in Greece, home team. So that matters. And then Hungary, who have a lot of history in football, as in Puskás was from Hungary. Mm-hmm. They famously basically created modern football. The Puskás Award for the greatest goal is a Hungarian, and there is and basically the Soviets destroy Hungary after World War II, and they never are a football power again. But Hungary is a historical world power, and it's good to have them back. They will play at home in full stadiums because Orban apparently thinks that coronavirus never existed. So it's just like, hey, Hungary's open. There's no coronavirus here. So Hungary will be in front of full fans in full stadiums at home.
For 2 of the 3 games, yeah.
Yeah, so they give 0 fucks.
Yeah, and good on them. That's the only way that they're going to be able to have any competitive balance or any flair at all in this group, which they're still not going to.
No, they're going to get annihilated.
They're going to get their shit kicked in 3 times for sure. You've got France first. Who of the other 2 do you have?
It's Germany and Portugal. I mean, it's just easy. I think Germany will be bad. I think the voice of love has been too much. He famously kicked Müller out of the team. They fucking flame out in the World Cup, tries to bring him back. That's fine. I don't think so. They've been playing badly for 2 years, 3 years now. I don't see them turning it around, but then it's Germany. Like, you just have to give respect. You can't count them out. They're still Germany until they're not.
Yep.
Right.
I agree.
And then the French team,
it's just a wagon the whole way through.
They're so great. The only thing that I can think of that would fuck them up is Deschamps is a little weird, right? He's very defensive. Mm-hmm. For a team with that much talent to play 2 holders always, mm-hmm. using center backs as fullbacks. That's how they play normally because they have so many center backs. They're like, well, I don't care that they're not a fullback. They're playing fullback because they're incredible football players, but just don't do that. Like, right? It's just an incredible team that has the problem of too many good players, sort of the way Brazil does sometimes when you're just like, well, how are they going to play?
Yeah. Why are you lining up like that? Yeah. You've got Germany 2 or Portugal 2? You got Germany?
I would go with, I'm going to go Portugal 2, Germany 3 as a catastrophe. And I'll tell you why. I just think, as much as I have been critical of Cristiano, he has the thing.
He's still there.
He's still there. Now, it can be a problem because they have to play him, but he does drive the team to win. And like I couldn't believe, and like we talked about in earlier pods at the end of the season, he scored 29 fucking goals.
Yeah.
Still 36 years old, all the miles, everything. If he can somehow play as a 9, really play as a 9, not like out where he wanders, where he likes to be a little bit on the left, hanging out, playing out there, but really just stay in the box and stay there and let people send the ball into you. There's nobody who's a better finisher ever. No. Like, he has all the finishes.
Yep.
Right? Like, he's just such a good header of the ball. The problem they have is, how do you play Jota, Bernardo, Fernandez all together without breaking the balance of your team, right? The one thing I could think of is Bernardo from City. I feel like he could play deeper.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he's more of a kind of almost not holding, but on this team, maybe.
The thing is, he doesn't have that killer ball.
Right.
So who's that link? Like, he'll take the ball and run through the midfield, but who's gonna connect to Fernandez and connect to Jota, who's making a run and get the ball? Like, they don't have, like, it's Moutinho, but Moutinho's 37.
Yeah, right.
or Neves, who I don't think he's really, he's really sort of an arrive late in the box guy and a defender. But who is that knitter guy who's going to make that De Bruyne-ish?
Who's the bridge?
Yeah, who's that connector? It that's their problem. They're going to have that problem. They're still good in defense. They're really good in defense. They have Ruben Diaz. They are, really good right now. And then Jesus Font, if you recall his partnership back in the day under Pochettino at Southampton, he's won the fucking league at 38 years old with Lille, and he's going to partner the defense with Diaz because Pepe's done at this point.
He's done. He was done years ago. Man, I hate that guy.
He's still fun.
Fun, yeah, absolutely. When I look at this group, I struggle real hard because I want to give Germany a couple extra points because they're playing all 3 games in Munich. And
that could make it worse.
It could make it worse. You're right. And the more we talk about Portugal, the more I start to warm up to them.
I didn't even talk about fucking Andre Silva. The guy led the Bundesliga. He had 32 goals in the Bundesliga. He's forgotten.
Yeah. He is. Yes.
Yes. You got so many good players.
Yeah, this group. I mean, so if you're the neutral, which obviously you are, if you're listening to this, you are keying on every game in Group F, because what it's likely going to come down to, frankly, is who beats the shit out of Hungary the most. It's going to be goal difference is the tiebreaker, right? So that's where I see who's in second and who's in third. I think it's a goal difference situation. I have no fucking idea who. And honestly, I don't think this is a runaway for France at all.
No, this is tough.
So
maybe Portugal plays Cancelo inside and as a central midfielder.
The hot take I wanted to have was Germany, France, Portugal. I don't know. I'm still gonna go France in the 2.
I think Germany's toast.
Yeah,
it's not a great Germany.
Here's what's going to happen. France is going to get a 2, and then they're going to beat the shit out of one of the worst ones from one of the other groups. That's, like I said, it's 3 games. You're going to get Austria could win Group C. The more I think about it, and you can get an Austria as a 1 and a France as a 2. And Austria is like, well, what the fuck did we finish in first place for? So that's what I'm
listen. The fact is, this tournament has delivered some odd champions. I mean, we can look through. Portugal is been good for a while, but Denmark, Greece, crazy. Czech Republic in 76, just like what? Why the fuck did that happen? It was Czechoslovakia back then. I guess they're claiming it, and the Slovaks go like, wait a minute, we were there. But that is famous because of the Panenka. He invented it. It's a man. In 76, took a penalty and acted like an asshole. And then, of course, this former Soviet Union was a 3-time finalist and had won one. So we're missing, there's some odd teams that have won this. No one dominates this tournament. I wouldn't say Germany dominated, but I just
more friends at the party only that makes it more diverse, right? Like there's no guarantee that any of the big names are going to come out of it. Well,
I think with more teams in a tournament, what you have is like all the historical giants are in.
Yes.
There's no like, well, I guess Italy didn't make it. That doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. They basically guarantee that the big countries of Europe are here. And if they're there, then they have a puncher's chance.
Would you call it Super League-esque at that point then?
Yeah, you could. Well, listen, here's the thing the stupid Super Leaguers were so dumb about. They should just be like, let's just make the Champions League huge just to let more people in.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of trying to be exclusive, just like, yeah, we'll never miss. Oh, it's 6 teams on our leagues to make it. Well, why not? Yeah. Let's make it. Let's put the Europa League and the Champions League together.
And everybody in the Premier League gets a bid.
Yeah, why not make it the FA Cup of Europe?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's actually better.
That is better.
And then you draw it out of the hat?
Oh God.
Oh God.
Millwall are going to Shakhtar Donetsk and
oh my God, there's a field fight.
Everybody's gonna die.
God, why aren't we run FIFA? That's what we would go off of. Like, what are you, crazy? If England can do 790 teams, we can do 2,000. It's all of Europe. They can handle it. Shit, Belgium, Brussels is there. They fucking managed the coronavirus rollout. Perfect.
I know. There you go. All right. This is a long one. Take us home, Laurent.
Okay, that was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing. Is that a chicken wing? Of the Chop Sports Network. The wing, chop, I don't know. That's weird. We record on Mondays and Thursdays, so be sure to subscribe when you get your podcasts, wherever you get them, so you'll never miss an episode. And be sure, if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show, as we need to reach as many lunatics as possible, because lunatics make the world go round.
Lunatics are what field fighting is about.
Team field fighting with sponsors.